What's up, world changers? This podcast was shot with the founder of 9th Avenue Films, Jacques the Preez. If you're a creative and wants to get serious about your craft, this is the podcast you should not miss. If you're a business owner and wants to scale and grow your business, Jacques shares his journey and lessons on how he studied coding to becoming full-time employed, being a freelancer, and ultimately becoming the founder of a very, very inspiring video production company. The golden thread of this podcast was on how Jacques found his value in his business and how that ultimately shifted the course of his business. I hope you enjoy this podcast as much as I did because it's packed with value. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this podcast. Jacques, episode 1 of the World Changers podcast. We've been wanting to do this for quite a while. We've probably been speaking about this for 4 years. We are actually sitting here in your guys' beautiful office. The founder of 9th Avenue Films, you guys have been moving and shaking in the industry now for the past 2 years. But I'm really curious to find out a bit more about you and just a bit of things that you can assist guys with, any creative, any guy, girl that wants to start their own business. Maybe it's a part-time thing, a side hustle that they want to start with and just like go out and just do something that they feel that they were called to. So with regards to your journey, you obviously didn't just start right out of school, started your own business. Right after school, let's say 17, 18, where was your mindset with regards to your life going forward? You're currently 26 years old. Very, very impressive. You've built this company in the past 2 years. You've probably have 5-6 employees at the moment. Been working on some massive projects. Been working with incredible talents in South Africa. Really astonishing, really inspiring. You have really inspired me. Where was your mindset when you were 17, 18 years old, taking on the world? This is now the real world. You're going to have to go and study. You're going to have to go and get your degree, get your education, and go out into the real world and make it work.
Sure. Well, Franco, like you said, it's our first, 4 years now in the making, and it's incredible, and what an honor to be here, and first of all, honor to God for everything that's happened. Without Him, sometimes you tell of a story, but you don't just tell of your own story. And I must say to you, thank you for your inspiration along the journey. I would most definitely not be here without the world changer that you are, and I would say the joy and the love that comes out of this podcast and this journey forward, because this isn't the beginning. This is the halfway mark, because it started in your heart 4 years ago and it's grown. And I think that's part of the journey. Is people always think the start looks like this, but the start doesn't look like this. The start looks like you sitting in your room looking up at the ceiling saying like, what if I can just talk to people and inspire other people? And there you've started the journey. And I think your question of where was I, 16, 17, 18, I need to go study, where did this journey start? And funny enough, it didn't start then. My whole life, I was always thinking of a way to not be stuck in something, but thinking of what can I do within the tools that I have to change something out there. So when I was 17, 18, I was at school, I was enjoying school. I still had a mindset that I wasn't the entrepreneur on school, I was flipping something, selling on the side here and there, like Ditani, she's got a chair that I need to sell, I'll go take pictures of the chair, sell it. But I wasn't the guy that's bringing Pakis chips to the school and, all the stories that you hear. My journey started 3-4 years after school, where my mission was to go and study IT and programming, because I loved computers and I used to, still maybe sometimes do play some games, but at school I played a lot of games. So I was like, games, okay, awesome, you figure out the computers, I love computers, let's go into IT. So I went to go study IT and business after school at Monash, and actually finished the first year, but some things in my life had happened. My parents lost their house. I came out of a 2-year relationship in not the best way that you can come out of a relationship. And like my whole world just crashed into each other. And my parents came to me and said, how about we lost the house, so how about we move to Pretoria? And I actually did a gap year there called Target Life. And it was in this year of pursuing your passion, of figuring out who you want to be. It was in this year after the breakup that I said, I'm going to do something for myself. And I bought this little GoPro. And I just was recording memories. I was rock climbing with my friends and I was recording it. And I was going to a shopping mall with friends and I was recording it. Later on the GoPro, it wasn't a GoPro, it was a Eken iCam H6, $2,000, looks like a GoPro but really isn't a GoPro. And eventually my cell phone's quality was better, so I started making videos. And throughout this year that you're sort of a student and figuring out life, and your parents are giving you 1,000 Rand a month pocket money, but it gets you like 1 week into the month and then you've got no more outings that your friends with more money are doing. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, surely I can start doing some work part-time. So I started working part-time. I was a waiter. I was a floor manager. I worked in the kitchen. I worked in a butchery. I did house sitting and pet sitting. And I found a great tip. Instead of pet sitting at one house, you contact 10 houses, say you'll go feed the dog and walk the dog for $90. So I did 5-6 houses a day, ended up making like $400-500 a day instead of just one house. So I was making some good money in the breaks, and I'm doing this, but I'm doing it all for the money. And I come to a point where I said, man, I'm doing videos. Surely there must be a way that I can use these videos and start making money. So I just asked God, I was like, there has to be a way that isn't there a way that I can use videos to make money? And I got this dream where God just showed me that in a few years from now, we're going to use videos to inspire people to take action and change their lives.
Which is what this is almost all about, yeah.
Which is exactly what this is all about. And I just remember saying like, wow, using video. I never thought I'd use video. I'm an IT guy. I'm coding in JavaScript. And then I was like, okay, videos. What do we do? Obviously, a man has many plans. So this man's plan was going to study 5 years, for 3 years film school, then I'm going to work in the industry, then I'll start my own thing. And which was God giving me the vision of saying, you need the tools, you need the knowledge, and you need the connections.
Tools, knowledge, connections.
Tools, knowledge, connections.
Okay.
So I said the tool is I'll go study. The tool is the gear. The knowledge is the studying. And the connections is what I'll build up in the industry afterwards.
Sure.
And we actually did a short film as a project in this gap year. And in that process of the short film, I directed and produced the short film. It's actually where I met my wife, because I said, I'll direct it. And she was like, I'm going to direct it. So I was like, no. So I was like, let's do this together. And in the directing process, we started making eyes for each other.
Okay.
But regardless, so we did the short film. Our short film won because I had I love video. So I was so passionate about this project. And in the creating of that video, it played, and there was someone in the audience. And they came to me and they said, listen, did you make that video? Who edited it? I said, no, me. He said, what's your plans? I said, no, I'm going to film school after this year, and then I'm going to be in the industry, and then I'll start my own thing. And he said, how about I teach you and I pay you? I was like, oh, what do you mean? So he said, come see me the next day. So I went to go see him.
So how did he see this video, this person?
He was just one of the people in the audience, happened to be a brother of a friend who got invited to watch all the short films with a gap year.
Okay.
And he had a small film company. It was him, his brother, and an editor. And that editor was on half day, and then they basically said, do you want to do like an internship? We'll teach you the basics of editing, or we'll teach you further because I already knew the basics, and we'll go from there. I was like, of course. Dedicated, excited to go into this piece of the world that had just opened up to me, and there I got the knowledge. In 6 months, me and this other editor, we were producing content that was taking a team of 4 or 5 guys to do. We were grinding every single day, 10, 12 hours at work, making content, going to events, shooting it at the event, coming back, and then like editing it right there for the same day delivery. And we were working at it. It was in the time that I was really pressing forward, creating this content that I saw the capacity that I had. You know, it took me 3 days to make a video, and now I'm doing the same video in 4 hours because you're being pushed and you're being stretched. And that's where I learned that being pushed and being stretched actually is a great place to be, because that's where you grow. You never grow when it's comfortable. If you've got 3 weeks to do a project, it's going to take you 3 weeks. If you've got an hour to do a project, you're going to do the project in an hour, but you don't want to compromise on your quality.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you got yourself a GoPro, aka a GoPro, just to film memories, okay? And then I assume you've downloaded a free editing software and taught yourself how to edit. You went to this gap year. You started studying. Started in this gap year, and then you found your love for filmmaking. And this guy saw what you can do, and he invited you to work with them full time. And then you worked with that company for a specific period. How long was that period?
I worked at the company for about 6 months, and there was a lot of, you're going to grow, you're going to move up, and I grew a lot. But I've just felt so limited in what I could do, because I had this whole skill set that I want to develop, but I didn't really have the space to develop it. And I was feeling really restricted, but I didn't know how to say that either. And I just had this, and God gave me this dream. I want you to tell stories. I want you to tell stories. And the third time that I got that, I was like, okay, I'm going to resign and start telling stories. Okay. So I went to the boss. I was like, listen, I just feel God says I need to go and tell stories. So I'm resigning. It didn't go down so well, because obviously you're losing half your team. But in retrospect, I find that just because one person says no doesn't mean there's no space for anyone else. I mean, me leaving opened up space for 2 additional people. And one of those people is actually a really big part of my life right now, because he got to grow in the space where I left. So I was there for about 8 months. Okay. And then haven't been employed since.
So a lot of the times employees works at a company. In your case, you were a bit in line with stuff that you liked, which is filmmaking, but not necessarily doing the filmmaking that you would want to do. So what advice do you have for some employees out there that's working at a company? Like I said, in your case, you were a bit more involved with filmmaking, which you did like, but some of them are sitting in a company where they really don't like what they are doing. But there's a valuable lesson in that, like you said, being stretched, learning new skills, being pressurized. What value did that give you? Not necessarily doing the things you love, but going through that period of actually learning these things, which obviously is invaluable to you right now. So what advice do you have for some guys sitting in a business that wants to do their own thing, but they know they're going to have to stick it out a bit more at the company before they can do whatever they would like to do?
My advice to someone who's currently an employee at a job that they don't exactly love, but they're being stretched, pressured, pushed, and just not comfortable, would be to trust the process. Because it's in that process that you learn things about yourself, even when you don't realize that you're learning. I was working at a pace that felt impossible. But now, 5 years later, I realize that stretched my capacity. Because where the guys that I work with now take a week to do something, takes me 4 hours, because I was under pressure to do it in 4 hours. And I can do it. So you're going to realize there's things in you that need to be brought to the surface. And the only way you do that is by putting yourself under pressure. So I wouldn't say pressure or stress is ever always a bad thing, even if it's not in line with what you want to do, because you're going to learn. So take a step back, take a step out of the process. Say, what is this going to teach me 5 years from now? And what can I learn in this process? Because you're there now. Doesn't help you sit there and say, oh, I don't want to be here, I'm under so much pressure. Take a step back, say, I'm under pressure. What is this teaching me for the next 5 years?
When did you realize that you had this decision that you made, okay, now you're sitting in the company. Okay, I'm going to do my own thing. What was that I'm going to do my own thing, God telling you need to make stories? What was that I'm going to do my own thing? How did that look like? Where did you start? I mean, okay, it's now the next day, the Monday morning, you don't have a job anymore. You have made the decision. You have made the decision. No one else. You know that the responsibility is on you. Where to from now? What did you do?
Franco, I think something important was I had the mandate to find the vision, then execute. And I am not the most patient person within myself. So I didn't go sit and find the vision. I went to execute immediately, which means I was working without a plan. My plan was to just work as much as possible because it'll happen. And in retrospect, looking back at that, it would have really helped me to take a month, to take a week even, sit down and say, what am I doing and where am I going? But I didn't do that. I just went and found the direction. It's only until 2 years later that I said, whoa, hold the horses. I'm just working my ass off left, right and center, trying to be everything for everyone. And I've got no mission and vision. I want to work for myself. Yeah, I want to be my own boss. Great, you're doing it, but what value are you giving to anyone else? So in retrospect, I would say find your vision. Sit and say, where are you going? What value are you going to bring to the world? And then start working on a little plan. Even if you just have a little plan, because if you don't plan, you're planning to fail.
But okay, now you need to do your thing. What did you start with? Who did you contact? What did you do? Did you buy yourself a camera? Did you have a camera then already? You had this editing skills. You obviously then from there, as I can remember, start going into filming weddings.
So when I started, it was still with the same mind. Knowledge first, then the tools, then the connections. Because you can't serve the connections without the tools. You can't use the tools without the knowledge. I had the knowledge, at least a good basis. Now I need the tools. So I've got a phone camera, but I really believe that to put the next level, I need to have a bit of gear. So it was a crazy story, but I made my salary of $8,000, took the $8,000, put it together with like everything else that I sold. And somehow, somewhere, God just provided the rest. And I bought my first camera for 22,000 Rand off Amazon. They're going to ship it in, bought it for like 10 grand less than they would have bought it in South Africa. And that gear arrived. And when that gear arrived, I was like, got the knowledge, got the tools, now it's the connections. So I reached out to everyone that I knew and I sent them the videos of me and my friends rock climbing. I was like, listen, look, I make videos. I want to make videos for you. And then if you reach out to enough people, someone's going to say, cool, come. And I had someone who was producing an album say, cool, come make a little ad for the song. So I went into studio. I'll never forget. The song was called Fearless, Cyan Asher. No, Cyan Ruis. Cyan someone. Cyan with Revelation Enterprises actually did that album. And I was in the studio recording on my very first gimbal that someone borrowed me their gimbal to just say, go. I don't use it so often, so go and use it with my camera. And I was capturing, yes, I was this videographer. I was a CEO, boss man, working for myself, making the big bucks, 500 Rand a video. And pursuing the passion, man. That was all of what it's about. And I would say that probably the first 2 years, it was a ride on emotion. Like you see everyone out there, yes, they want to be their own boss. Now you're your own boss, but you don't realize when you say, I don't want to work 9 to 5, and you become your own boss, doesn't mean you work 2 hours a day immediately. It means that you're going to work 15 hours a day for the first 5 years at least, and then you get to start taking some time.
A lot of guys get romanticized by the idea of starting your own business. It's going to give you this freedom, and obviously, like you now know, it's not the case always. Where in the journey was it, when you were still doing your gap year, when you started with videos, where in your journey did you realize like storytelling is the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life?
Storytelling, what I want to do for the rest of my life. The first time I realized that was when I sat in front of someone. I said, I want to capture your story. And they told me their story. And the camera was here, just like it is now. And I was looking at them. I was asking them the questions you're asking me. And I asked them a question and it touched me. I was like, wow, if it can happen to you, it can happen to me. Because everyone's equal. And when that happened, it changed a piece of who I am. Because I had a little bit of that belief. And I was like, I want to share this with the world. Because imagine there's someone out there that feels exactly like me. Someone changes their mind. That's where I am.
So, as I can remember, you started then doing a lot of weddings. That's where I would say you did a lot of the groundwork, where you learned the skills of running a business almost as a freelancer, which is still your own business. So how long was that period before you then started 9th Avenue? Obviously still being a freelancer.
Yeah, being a freelancer, I contacted everyone, got a lot of no's and some yeses. Went to the yeses, did the best that I could. It was a lot of working with churches, telling the stories of what they're doing there. Ministries like Hinneke Haven is a home for abandoned kids, telling their story, because when you tell a story with impact, it spreads because people see the story. Weddings, and I mean the story of love. Everyone's getting married, telling the story of them of loving each other. And events, going to an event, capturing what happens at an event, and then telling the story of the event. To suddenly take your audience from 500 people to 15,000 people on Facebook. And then you've got some marketing for the next one. Going on that journey was putting my everything into every project and just giving it. I mean, I wasn't focused on making money because I was making my $5,000, which was petrol money and spending money. I was very lucky to have boarding and food with my parents, obviously. And I was just going for it. If I could pay the petrol to the next job, that was enough, because I had this fire inside me to just create. So I just created with every project. Each project I grew and learned because I got to shoot it. I could see in editing what I shot wrong. Oh, it would have looked so much cooler like this. I'd do it on the next project. I'd talk to this person. They'd be offended because I was late on deadlines. I'd say, let me try not be late on deadlines next time, and I'd learn through failing. And that's where the statement comes in that I strongly believe today is learning feels like failing. So when you're learning, you're going to be failing because that's the only way. Every single failure means another lesson. And that went up until where we were like full time. We were doing events and a lot of weddings, being booked for events and weddings, and COVID came. And we stopped being booked for all the events we had booked, got cancelled. I mean, every single event that was booked got cancelled. And every single wedding moved out or got cancelled. I mean, having someone cancel their wedding, that was terrible. So I sat with, wow, I'm capturing a lot of what's happening, but if there's nothing happening, what are you capturing? And then I started asking myself, what can I do that has value further than telling the story of something that's happened? And that's where we got to 9th Avenue, of saying we want to tell the story of your business. We want to tell the story of the value that you can give others. And that's where we started approaching businesses. And that's where we started approaching businesses saying, you've got a product that's changing someone's life, even if it's insignificant. Sunlight liquid is changing lives because it's giving me clean skottelgoed. So I want to tell the story of your sunlight. So I'll make a product video, I'll show people, and that's how we started growing in 9th Avenue.
So now you're sitting in COVID. Okay, you don't have any jobs anymore. Well, very little. You're in this freelancing space, but now you want to start this almost like a whole new rebrand with a new purpose, which is almost like starting from not scratch again, but you are basically you have the clients that you've worked with before. But now you've got a whole new vision of going more into the commercial space, of telling the stories of people and their products and services. How did you start that process, and how did that look like? Approaching new businesses, getting your name out there. How did you go about that process? Because, I mean, it's a whole new rebrand and it's a whole new, let's say, vision and service delivery that you're offering.
Monique, my sister, actually started working with me about 3 months prior to COVID. And when COVID hit, we were just burnt out. And I mean, she'd been working with me for like 4 months. So it's not like, it was a lot to handle. So when COVID hit, we were like really burnt out. And I just took a month and said, you know what, it's just gonna be for a bit. And after because I was doing events and weddings and working with telling stories, but I wasn't doing it because of the love that I had for it anymore. I was doing it to make ends meet. And I'd take another job for an event because, I just need to get the money in so I can survive through the month. So I was fully booked to maximum capacity, working every single day, shooting on weekends, events, weddings, Monday to Friday, working my ass off. And I wasn't making it because I wasn't charging for value. I was charging for technical services. I was charging for a videographer arriving and shooting something. I wasn't charging for the value that I was giving. So I hit a ceiling where I couldn't get more work to get more money, and I couldn't make more money because I was already fully booked. And when COVID came, it was sort of like a sigh of relief of like, wow, okay, and I must say, I like completely lost. I didn't have a vision I was just after money, and I just had to make money. And when COVID came, everything reset. But and then we said, well, what value do we have? And we went into the well to go find what we have right at the bottom. And we started telling stories of corporate businesses. But Franco, it's not until, I would say, a month ago that I've actually, within the first time in the last 5 years, discovered what value I have and what I can give clients. It took me 4 years of grinding, grafting, hustling, you name it. You can put all the terms to that, hard work, without a vision, to find what a vision actually means, to find what a valuable vision is. So we can talk about the whole journey, and there's a lot of value in there, but I think that the story actually only begins now.
So before we get there, because I really want to go into the value, the thing that I really want to share with you, since I know a bit of the story right now, is you've now rebranded, you're sitting in COVID, you've got, okay, cool, I now need to pivot a bit. You took a month off or however long, you and your sister. Then you did something. You started reaching out to people, which almost accidentally landed you a project that contributed to a large degree to the past 2 years. Massive project, incredible people, massive impact. That's a project that's now busy launching as we speak. How did that happen? Because I really do think, going back to that thing, a lot of guys and women starting their own business, they romanticize the idea of, I'm just going to start posting stuff on social media and I'm going to get people to come to me and they are going to ask me to, people are just going to flood to me to say, hey, I want your services. Which is what I want to focus on, is that initial step that you have to take when not a lot of people know about you.
Sure.
What did you do to start getting clients with this new, after this pivot that you've decided of going into the commercial space a bit more and telling the stories of businesses?
If someone comes to me and they say, I can give you the best service, just pay me. Then I say, okay, show me what you can do. And if you can't show me something valuable, I'm not going to pay you. So what I did was I said, I want to tell businesses stories. Now I can go to anyone and say, I want to tell your story. And they'll be like, okay, show me some of the work that you've done. Like, no, you'll be the first business's story that I'm telling. But I've done some events and some weddings. So what I did was I went to clients, and I believe this is the bow and arrow. A bow and an arrow needs to be pulled back before it can be released. And a lot of people feel like that pulling back is like, oh, I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm degrading myself, or because I was being paid for work. And this is what I did, is I said, I want to tell businesses stories. So I went to everyone I knew with a sort of a business. And I said, listen, I'm thinking of this new idea. I want to do this for a company. I've done weddings and I've done events, so I've got some experience, but this is what I want to do. And I think that this product that I want to create is going to be great for your business because of this and that reason. And I went to them, approached them, and said, I'm willing to do this for you for free. Can you give me 2 hours of your time to do this? I want to see if it gives you value, as I think it's going to. And obviously, when you pitch value to someone, they're going to accept it. Especially if you're pitching value to someone for free, they're willing to take a stab. Now, I think, just going off the track for 2 seconds, this is something that's really important. People think that they can go to someone with, hey, I want to make you a great video because I make great videos. I don't care how good your work is. What is it going to do in my life? If someone's coming to me saying, I want to do this for you because I do it really well, I'm going to say, okay, what does it mean to me? So I think I thought about what I can do in my world, and then I had to stop and pause and say, whoa, this isn't about me. I'm not going to become a world changer by changing my world. I'm going to become a world changer by changing others' worlds. So I've got this value. It's really valuable because I believe in it. But what is this value going to help you? So I went to a company, to multiple people, and I said, this is the value that I've got. This is the value that I love. I want to bring it to you. I want to work with you to give it value in your company, and I want this value to be valuable to you so that it can help you go further. And then people started saying, okay, this is cool.
And that process was a cold email, a cold call. Here's what I can offer you.
Hello,
for
Wim
free.
Frick. I've been doing videos for the last 2 years. I've got a new idea. Actually, Franco, it started, Franco, you just spoke about the project that led to a bigger project. Let's talk about that, how that happened. I was scrolling on Instagram looking for copywriters to write my website's copy. Found behind the scenes content of someone. And I was like, wow, this looks like a great writing company that this product that I'm working on could work for. So forget the copyright for a moment. I really just want to give you guys this value because I'm trying to work on this new product. So I hit them up on Instagram. I was like, hey guys, I really love your company's work and you guys look interesting to me. I've got a new product I'm working on. This is some of my previous videos. I'd love to test the new product with you. I think it's going to be valuable. And obviously, to her surprise, she called me and said, what? What do you want to do? Who are you? Why do you want to do that? So I explained it and said, well, I'm just working on this product. I think it's valuable and I love what you guys have done on your Instagram page. Can I come do it for you? And they said, oh, sure, of course. So I went through to them and we had fun for 4 hours. We created this project. I explained my vision. They said, okay, I understand how that vision is going to bring value to us. They enjoyed the process. They collaborated with me in creating something for them. And we created their story in a product. Because I think when you call someone and say, I've got something that I love, and I love what you guys are doing, I'd love to do it together, a lot of people are going to be open for that. Because you don't want something from them. You're not saying, hey, listen, I want to try a new video with you. Can I have your time? You're saying, I've got something valuable for you, and I love what you guys are doing. Can we collaborate?
And your main purpose with that was to shoot that at no cost, for free, for that client, bring them as much value as possible, so that you might have an example, so that when you go out into the business, now wanting to charge obviously for your services, now you at least have an example. That was the intention, right?
It was exactly that. It's about having a use case, saying to other companies, look, we did this for them, it added this to them, so we want to do it for you at this price. And that's where we began.
And then she said, this business owner, she said, she loved it so much, you brought her so much value, she did not pay anything for it. And then a while after that, something massively happened, which has been like I said, the majority of the work that you guys have been busy with, a massive project. What was that? I know it's a bit still maybe under the radar, maybe you can speak about it since it has launched. So what happened there? How did a free video, can I please give you guys value as much as possible at no cost, lead to a really massive project that has kept you busy for 2 years?
Franco, I think when you are driven for money, people see your intention.
Almost that desperateness versus desire.
Yes.
If you're desperate, you're going to almost push it away.
If you come to someone with, please can I give this to you because it will be value for you, please, 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 because it's gonna bring me value. People see that you're doing something for them, for you. So
wow, that's awesome. People see you're gonna do something for them, but for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
People see that you're doing something for them, but it's for you.
And people can smell that from a mile away.
From a mile away.
People have very high bullshit meters these days.
There's no. This is what it looks like. This is how it sounds. It's just something that isn't even visible, but people see your intention. They feel it. So I went to her with an idea, and my full intention was, I just want to create this with you and give you value. And there was no, if it's valuable for you, then you pay me. If you love it, please promote us. If this is good for you, please can we use it? It was, I'm testing an idea. I think you guys are a great guinea pig. Can I come test it with you? And then we see if it's valuable. And in that process, it actually didn't even add value to her company yet. But because of the way that we worked and the connection we had on the day of just, this was collaboration. It wasn't me doing something for you. It wasn't you owing me something. We had all our hands on the table and someone was listening to their story and it was just beautiful. We both left that day feeling like, wow. I mean, I was inspired because there was so much value for me. It was beautiful. And she was inspired because she got to process through her story. She got to say to someone listening to their value and just creating something. I hadn't even shown her a video yet, and we had a connection. And it's because of the way that we are passionate about what we do. And that actually led to one of her clients calling. Sorry, I'm giving you the weather. One of her clients, that actually led to one of her clients saying, hey, listen, I've got this great idea, but we need a video team. And she said, you know what? You won't believe who I just met. I think that they would be able to do the project for us. And I'll never forget the day she called me. And she said, Jacques, are you busy? I was like, well no, I can talk. But can you come to my office? Now she's like 50 minutes drive, and this was 2 months before I'm getting married, a month before I'm getting married. I've got so much on my plate. I just need to handle off the work, and I'm like, for a chat. I love a chat, but I'm under so much pressure. And I was like, and she said, I just have an idea that I want to talk to you about. And I was like, can we talk over the phone? And she said, trust me, just come. And, in retrospect, I'm like, what was I thinking? But so I was like, okay, cool. So I went to her and she said, we've got an idea. And I think you would be the perfect person to help us with this idea. So she pitched me this idea. It started with creating 5 videos. And in the process of creating those 5 videos, we just enjoyed the process so much to bring this idea to life. And when we did, because of the passion from my team and from her team, working on this together, the client said, this needs to be so much bigger than what it is. So our original idea, would you like me to talk about?
Please do.
So our original idea was to go to people that are talented, say, hey, we'll produce an online course for you, and then you can host the online course. We're going to have a platform that you post your online course on, and we just refer people to you. And after we did 5 coaches,
talents, whatever, yeah.
Talents, it was like, whoa, no, we need to go to famous South Africans that have walked the walk, talked the talk, done the journey, and they get to share their story with us, and we can learn from their story. And that's where it inspired our name, Playbox. Because we are going to a coach, we're learning from their journey, and together we're going to have fun in the journey, and we're going to learn from this box full of gifts. And it's a Playbox, where we shot this 10-episode online course about comedy with Joey Rustine, and it was beautiful. We had so much fun together. There was so much value that came, and in that process we just said, this is going to be worldwide. This is going to be the next big thing. And from there on, the journey is just like we've added a coach, and finally, a year and a half later, we're at a point where we've launched live on the platform with 10 coaches.
And that includes people like Lucas Gadebe, Ryan Sands, which is the world's top trail runner in the world at the moment, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Jody Bieber, one of the most famous photographers in South Africa,
Maps
Mapunyane,
Santi
Botha,
massive businesswoman. But the point is, at starting at a place where you're willing to collaborate with someone to create value
for them
with a pure intention, it led to a place where I've had the opportunity to work with world-class crew, world-class talent. The whole Playbox team is incredible. I mean, masters in their craft. Everyone's still learning on the journey, because that's what it's about. And just seeing something that's valuable be born out of an idea because of the love for what we do.
So many times you get in a place in your business. This is now, for example, where you were working with a certain amount of clients at almost a certain rate that you've charged them for a very long time. Now you got to a place where it was like, whoa, okay, this is really big amounts of money. This is not just going to be my team. This is going to be a lot bigger. I'm going to have to get more guys in. Very often, and I've almost done it in my freelancing career when I started with my videography, was you almost feel, I don't have the skill, I don't have the value, I won't be able to handle this thing. That obviously, with the amount, the size of the project that you worked with, it was obviously massive. For any business that starts out with that, it's a massive project. How did you overcome the fear of, okay, I'm not now going to carry any gear anymore. I'm not now going to be the guy handling the mic and setting up the camera. Like, now everything is being done for you because you have the capital for it. How did you overcome that insecurity of, will I be able to do this?
Wow. I think the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship and following your passion is that you're never really 100% confident that it's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. You chase ideas and you believe in them. It's only till afterwards that you realize you were capable. And in this journey, when we landed the first playbox, it was exponential to what one project we're used to. You know, we're doing 3-4 projects for the same value. Now we're doing one project and we're being awarded, instead of me setting up the lights, the cameras, the action, the mics, whatever, I've got the ability to bring in a crew. And that's where I'm very glad I did all the groundwork, because I didn't go in saying, I need a video crew, but I've got no experience. I need audio, but I've got no experience. I need lighting, but I've got no experience. I could single-handedly build the entire set that was necessary. I knew what to do with set design. I knew what to do with lighting. I knew what to do with mics. I knew what to do with audio. I knew what to do with cameras. So it was about finding people that I trust enough to take my direction and make it happen. So I just pulled together people that I've worked with in the past and said, this is the project, this is what I need done. Will you do this? Will you do this? Will you do this? And we started off doing the first one with a crew of 4, where we did a production that would normally take a crew of 12, because we did everything ourselves. It wasn't, I'm going to direct it and you guys do the film. It was, I'm going to do everything together. We're doing it together. And we built it from the ground up, because this was pilot phase. So we didn't have all the budgets yet. It was a lot bigger than what we're used to for a single project, but it empowered us to still work together as a team and build it from the ground up. From the ground off up. From the ground off up.
By the way, if you guys are wondering what Jacques is speaking about, how that looked, go to 9th, the number 9th avenuefilms.com.
.com.
And go check how that looked like. They have everything on the website, and just go have a look at what that looked like if you're curious about this whole picture that he's busy describing right now. Okay, so now you're working with these guys. You are building confidence in yourself. You're getting incredible feedback. What new belief did that create within yourself, working on such a big project and getting such fantastic feedback? What belief did that create within yourself?
It's like being thrown into the deep end of a pool.
Sure.
Saying you're going to drown.
Yeah.
And then you realize, but you have it in you to swim. And then you stop being afraid of the deep end. And over the last year, I've had the opportunity to work on 10 of these sets, where we've gone from crews of 4 up to crews of 8, where we've done a crew of 22 for a massive set with Lucas Hadebe at FNB Stadium. And what you realize now, I'm standing before another big set, but I'm not afraid to be thrown into the deep end, because I know I'm going to learn how to swim.
Exactly.
But I'm still skrikkerig. I always, up until the day that we get to the set, I'm still like, oh, what am I doing? I can't do this. You know, you get that imposter syndrome. You're good enough. You've shown it to the world. The world's seen it. You've seen it. But someone's still lying to you, saying, yeah, you're not good enough. You're not going to make it. And then you do it. And then it's sort of like, what is it? Leer. What gets stronger the more it breaks? It's sort of like taking cold showers. Okay. Every time you stand there, you know when you open that tap, it's gonna be frak out. You're gonna feel some coldness. And there's no way avoiding that. It's always going to be cold when you open the tap. Are you gonna wait a long time before you open the tap? Are you gonna freak out while you're opening it? Or are you just gonna... And I think this process has become easier in the journey. I know it's going to be cold. I'm going into something that's big. There's a lot of people relying on me to do what I can do and make it work. But I know I've done this many times. So you start learning how to swim. And the one belief that it's established in me is everyone has within them more than enough to what they need to succeed.
Wow.
Someone just needs to give you the opportunity to bring it out.
Mm.
And you're never going to learn how to swim if you keep your feet on the bottom of the shallow end.
Sure.
You need to go to somewhere where you can't swim or can't stand to be able to swim.
Sure. Going back to what you said a few minutes ago regarding you having found your value, you having not felt good enough, almost the imposter syndrome. Just go back a bit to that journey or to that realization, where you said that it's only about a month ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever the case might be, that I've really started knowing my own value. Although the outside world might look at you and say, wow, Jacques, you're in Cape Town twice a month and you're there and you've got this massive crew of people and I just see all these amazing stuff on social media and you're working with these big clients and you're traveling and it looks like you're having the time of your life. What happened there? What realization hit you?
I believe in life we all have a North Star. That's where you're going. And sometimes you get this vision of what the future looks like. And you forget that you start, that it's going to happen. And you start living to make it happen. But it's not about keeping your focus on the North Star. It's about looking up, saying that direction, look down, where can I start now? What I mean in that is, I knew this company was going to go big. I knew we were going to tell a lot of stories and we were going to grow as a team and make the world change. But I put my focus on making the team grow instead of putting my focus on what makes it grow, which is the stories being told. So I put my focus on the result of the value given instead of the value given. So
explain that.
To put it more bluntly, is you put your focus on the money instead of putting your focus on why you get the money. So for probably the last 3 years, my back of mind goal was to give value. And my front of mind goal was it needs to be profitable for the business. So within every interaction, there is that the passion that lives. But there's the focus on how can we scale, how can we grow, how can we expand. And it's never bad to think about that, but when it becomes your sole purpose, then you lose the value. And it's only up until about last month where I was confronted with all the success to, is it the vision? Is it executing the vision? Because we're going towards the end, but we're not enjoying the journey. And I think there's that quote that says, the man who focuses on the destination forgets the journey. But when you enjoy the journey, you'll always get to the destination.
It's like when you're running a marathon, if you're just running to finish, you're going to run to finish, but if you love running, it's always going to be fun.
And you're always going to finish. Because you're going to get there because you're enjoying the journey. So up until about a month ago, where I had a realization that it's never worth it to do it for the money. Because you start focusing on the wrong place. You start focusing on making money. You start focusing on building. But versus saying, I've got this talent, and this talent can give value. And seeing someone's life change or just be impacted in a small way through the value that we've given makes such a big impact. And bringing back from the start the intention and bringing it back to, I just want to give people value. Forget the money. I want to go back to where I'm approaching clients for free saying, I've got this idea and I want to give you value. Because when you give someone value, it becomes valuable. And then they start paying you. And when they start paying you, you start focusing, oh my word, I can get paid from this. So you start focusing on the money. how can I get more money? What video can I make to get more money? What video can I make to get a bigger paycheck? That's the wrong question. But that's what the business world has taught me. Not that I want to knock the business world. That's what I took from all the messages out there. Go, hustle, grind, put your hours in, make the company grow, get the money. And I've just realized, if you focus on making money, everyone's going to smell your intention. And they won't even know that that's your intention, but there's just something in the flavor. Versus saying, I've got this talent, we're a team now that's got many talents. And with those talents, we can honestly collaborate with you to add value. And where I am in the last month is saying, stop, whoa. Let's look at where our focus is. What value do we have that we can give someone? And that's the transaction. And through that, I believe that there will come value back to us. But that's, even if it doesn't, as long as we leave value, that person's going to become marketing for us. Even if we just give value, full value, no return to us. They're going to tell someone's going to mention videos, hey, there was this guy, he gave me so much value, let's work with him. Because I believe life is a value exchange. And the more value you give, the more people will pay you for the value.
And what you deem as value might not necessarily be value for someone else.
That's very correct.
Jacques, what apparent failure in your life has set you up for major success? What apparent failure in your life that was like a massive failure in your eyes has really set you up for success?
Wow. What apparent failure set me up for success?
Or later success?
Franco, I dropped out of university after completing the first year. A lot of people around me was like, oh, shame. That's a failure. Later on, COVID came and it decimated all the progress that I had made in 3 years. It took me from where we had so much value to no one needs it. So why is it valuable? There's no events, there's no weddings, no stories being told from ministries because there's no funding. And it looked like what I had built for 3 years fell and was destroyed. And that made me realize, once again, that learning feels like failing. I had failed in those areas, but I believe now, I can see now, that through that failure, it took me like a month to grieve the failure. But once I had gotten over the failure, I saw the value in the lesson and applied it. Because we can all learn, but if you're not doing what you learn, it's useless. So I started applying the value. And now, honestly, I can tell you in business, I'm excited for the next failure. I'm excited for the next point where we get to where we don't have money for the end of the month. Because how much more opportunity there is then for a miracle. It takes one miracle, and then it makes the possibility for many more. Many months I've gotten to the end of the month, a week before the month, and there's no way. But that's part of the journey, part of learning how to use finances, part of that journey.
Running your own company, obviously I have a lot of stresses to it. And I know a lot of people think, this is such an amazing journey, but you're still in this journey. When you feel totally overwhelmed and unfocused, what do you do?
Wow. Once again, the man who focuses on the destination forgets about the journey. So the only time that I really ever get overwhelmed is when my whole focus has shifted to the destination. I need to reach this deadline. I need to get to that opportunity. I need to create this. And I forget that the hard work to get to the deadline is the fun. Then I really try to take a step back and say, what was it? rushing. Haste is ignorance. What was that thing that you sent me? Did you send it to me? Deadlines. Rushing. Okay. There's the saying that to achieve things really fast, this rush that we have to get to the deadline, it's for what? We're doing it for why? So I always take a step back and say, what's the worst thing that could happen? I'll miss this deadline completely. The whole team fails because we didn't get it published in time. It's going to be okay. Let's move it out a day or two. And then I focus on the work. It needs to get done. It's not going to get done by Monday, so let's just work. And 97% of the time it gets done by Monday because my focus was on the journey. But frankly, what you're saying is so true. People see this journey of having your own business as it's so amazing. Because obviously we're showing the world how amazing it is. I'm not showing the world how shit everything is all the time, because that's not what social media is for. Well, at least no one uses it that way. I'd love to use it that way, but like when you're feeling shit, you don't exactly want to even live in it any longer. So no one wants to share it. But it's not just about victory after victory after victory. I would say being a business owner is about failing, and about your relationship with failure.
Wow.
Because if you're failing forward, you're going to grow. But I believe people look at business owners and say they're so successful, they must be winning at everything. So the moment you make your first decision, you're a failure. No, I would say a good failure is a business owner because they've been able to learn.
So how do people then change their relationship with failure?
Fail more.
Fail more.
Fail more. And be excited about failing, because every time you fail, there's an opportunity for a victory afterwards.
Sure. What is the biggest thing holding back creatives? People that wants to create. We're all creatives in our own right. Whether it is in accounting, you're still creating magic in whatever you are doing. What is the biggest thing holding people back, especially creatives? Let's talk about creatives, people that wants to create music, film, photos, writing, whatever the case might be. What would you say is the biggest thing holding creatives back?
Perfectionism.
Perfectionism.
You want to create, so you end up creating something and you learn and you grow. So your next project is going to be a little bit better than your previous project, guaranteed. So what happens? You raise your standard. So your next project is a bit better than this one. So you raise your standard. The next project, and you get to a point where to achieve this standard takes a lot of work, because it's flippin' good. And what you don't realize is, frankly, that this year is good enough for a lot of people. This year is flippin' excellent for a lot of people. But you want to keep reaching this level. So, quick example. In the beginning of my journey, I'd pull out my phone, make a status, show someone what I'm doing. Okay, now, unless I have a guy following me with a gimbal, mic'd up on a lapel with lighting, I'm not posting the status. So what happens? There's a lot of work that needs to be done to do something valuable. I want to say the same thing. It's just looking different. I want to do the same thing. And that's where it comes to rather have something that's good than have nothing that's excellent. Because I'm spending all my time waiting. I mean, in the last month, I've had ideas for 2.5 years that have lived in this head. I've had the most beautiful, magnificent ideas, but I can't even do them because it's not perfect. And I've decided, I don't care if it's perfect. If it's good, it could be good enough. So I'm giving it what I think is good enough. And then I'm dropping it a little bit more because I'm an expert in it. And that's damn good for a lot of people. So I'd rather give value and go out and create these videos for companies that's giving them value, that's creating something beautiful, instead of me saying, no, I don't have the budget to do something excellent. No, I can't have the team to do something excellent. Well, be excellent in what you're doing, in everything that you're doing. But good is good enough.
Good is good enough.
Because it's still so much better than what someone else is going to do that isn't in your shoes. And it's still, and forget much better. It's more valuable than what that person can't do. If I make a video with my cell phone, it's going to be a bit better than someone who doesn't make videos. So at least I've got something to give. But good is good enough.
So, with that being said, what advice do you have for creators out there?
Just start. I am faced with this wall in front of me every single day. I've got this idea, I've got this idea, I've got this, that's where we're going. And for some reason in my person being, I have a tendency to be an extremist. So if it's not there, it's never going to happen. It's not good enough. If I'm not going to make it there, I'm not going to do it. So I have taken the liberty to allow myself to say, we'll get there and move it out. I just sort of like push it into the distance and allow myself to see what's the first step. So social media. Now I want to give value to people and I want to create it in this quality that we have right now that's amazing, and we want to give it with the perfect audio and the best look, okay? But like you've seen, it takes effort to set this up. So now I've decided, push it away. I want to give value to people. Yeah, it still takes effort. Okay, push that away. I want to tell stories. Yeah, push that away. I just want to share something. So consistently we've been sharing now for the past 3 weeks. And we're just sharing. If it's not giving you value, that's okay, because we're getting there. But we're sharing something. And we're going to start sharing, and we're going to start sharing. And now when sharing is easy, I'm going to start adding a little bit of value to what I'm sharing. And when adding a little bit of value, I'm going to add a bit of production value. And when a bit of production value starts becoming easy, I'm going to start building. And you'll see within a year, I'll be there. And what do we all say? Everyone greatly overestimates what they can achieve in 1 year, but greatly underestimates what they can achieve in a decade. So push it to a decade. Forget it. Just do what you can with what you have and stop trying to make it the best that you can do, because you can see what I can do and I've shown it to you. But it doesn't mean my social Instagrams have to be the production value of my 400,000 Rand set. It's not the same thing. So let's take this discussion and summarize 2 or 3 points that are actionable and doable today, that you can take, you the viewer can take and implement in your life from today going forward. Step 1, find your value. It might not be the most valuable, it might not be the perfect value. You might not do a full set like we do right now, but you still have your phone and you've got an eye for videography and you love telling stories more than the person who's going to do it. Everyone in life is on different levels, but as I'm on this level in one area, you're on this level, doesn't mean this is our life. It's like this in another area. So I see everyone is equal. We can learn from each other. Whether you're the CEO of a multi-billion company, I still believe I can learn from you and you can learn from me, because I might treat my wife differently than you do your girlfriend because you're not married yet. Who knows, right? Everyone's got levels that you can learn from. So bringing that to a step, everyone can learn from you and you can learn from everyone. You can give something that's going to add value to anyone, so they can give something that's going to add value to you. Go and sit and think about the value that you have. What do you love doing? What can't you wait to do? Take that and look at how much you enjoy it. How can you do that and add value or influence someone else with that? Let's say you love gym. You love gym. You just love going to the gym. You love just getting in the zone, okay? How can you bring someone else into that world, or take your world to someone else and grow them? Well, someone who doesn't know how to gym yet, you can give them a little program to start with. Or you could invite someone to gym with you and just show them a certain method, or teach someone or tell someone in your story about what you did and how it worked for you. all of a sudden you're sharing what you value because you love it, you value it. You're sharing that with someone. And trust me, there's going to be someone out there that says, oh my word, I didn't know how to do that. I love doing that. Could you teach me a bit more? And then you're going to learn from them, they're going to learn from you. So what do you love? What do you value? And how can you share your value with someone else? For them. Don't think about monetary value. Just go share your value. Step one. And I want to help our viewer because I see this all the time in my life and in others' lives around me. We get clouded by our curiosity when it comes to money. You start saying, no, I'm curious about this because you're thinking about the money at the end of the line. So on top of what you've just said, if I give you $1 billion right now, where would you go first? And a lot of us are always like so exhausted, we just go on holiday. Okay, go on your holiday. What would you do after that for the rest of your life? Okay, go on a duck holiday for like 3 years. Just travel the whole world, enjoy it. What would you do with your time then? You've got no reason to make money. No reason. What are you curious about? What do you enjoy? What are you passionate about?
Okay.
Start thinking about that. Take money off the table. Because I firmly believe if money is your focus, you're going to forget about the value that you have.
Sure.
Focus on the value that you have. And like you just said, when you start giving value, people are going to see it as valuable. They'll start buying your value.
Sure.
So focus on the value.
It's almost like how I started, where I love reading, I love mindset, I love how the mind works, sales, negotiations, just a general mindset, let's say personal development stuff. And I've just started spontaneously sharing it on my Instagram stories. I shared something every single day, and it led me to where I could stand in front of 400 people and have a conversation about it and chat about it and have a talk about it. So
exactly
Okay.
that. You focused on what you love. You just shared it because of the passion that you have sharing it. People started loving what you share, and they have a commonality, and eventually someone would pay you for it. But we get clouded and we focus on, I need to share this with the end goal of making money. And that's where I think the intention turns. Your value starts becoming money. You attach your own value to the money. Instead of just knowing you're valuable in yourself, regardless of how much money you have. Someone will pay you for what you're valuable for. Share that value.
So going back to summarizing, find the thing that makes you curious, or the thing that you deem as valuable, that you spontaneously love to do research on, to read about, to share with other people, and then finding a way on how to share it. I mean, social media makes it so easy. So you can just pick up your phone and make a story, and like you've mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be good enough. Get it out there. Second thing, with summarizing everything we spoke about, what would it be?
I would say the second thing is allowing yourself to be. You're constantly comparing yourself to someone else who's found their value and is sharing it. You're on the journey to find it. You're on the journey to discover it. And I think a lot of people are on that journey forever. They've just got something to start sharing. I believe everyone has got a little piece to share with someone. So allow yourself to be where you are. You don't have to know everything. The most freeing thing happening in my life right now is when I sit in front of a client and they say, can you do this and this and this? And I say, I can do this and this and this, but this is our strong suit. So I'd love to give you some advice on this and work with you to get the best person for that. But this is what I want to do for you. Because I'm always doing what I fully value. So instead of asking, hey, can you do my social media? Can you do my website? Can you do my video? Yeah, I can do that. I've done it. I've got a good track record. Works good. But I want to focus on the video. I want to focus on the story. So I'm gonna work with you in getting the best for your team for this. But this is where I'm adding value. So now I'm meeting with them and their website designer to guide the process on creating the website, but I'm getting to add my full value on the videos. And that's where we're focusing, is allowing yourself to be wrong, allowing yourself to not be everything to everyone. So that's number 2. Don't be everything to everyone. Just be yourself to the one person. Stop trying to think about how can you inspire 1,000 people. There's one person in front of you. Work with the coffee that you're having Thursday afternoon. Work with that person. You've got value. How can you share value to them that's valuable for them without you shoving yourself down their throat? You just want to increase their life with what you value. allow yourself to be where you are, and be organic. Let yourself grow like a plant. Stop forcing yourself to grow.
Okay, so if I wrap this up, what I've been hearing, the whole conversation was focusing on the value is the most important and not chasing the money. And I know it's been said so many times, but it's I mean, you're a testimony sitting in front of me with regards to that, and you're probably not probably you're still on your journey. The golden thread that I've been hearing is give value with the right intention to be able to give them the value without almost having an intention of monetizing that at the back end.
Give value with the right intention, and that intention is to give the value. Like, let's say you're sitting in a conversation, you have something to give, and you have no expectation of it giving you any return. I want to give you the little bit that I have in video. I can help you. Little bit that I have. I'm not the best, but I can help you. So I'm going to give you everything that I have to offer in my offer. And if it doesn't get me a return, I'm so happy with that, because you have the value. So you've still left with increased value. And I can guarantee you, if you leave enough value by enough people, they're going to start saying, hey, remember that guy that gave me the value in that meeting when I couldn't pay him what he needed to be paid? Let's call him because he'll give us the value. So find your value. Find how you can share the value, and share the value without having any expectation of a return from them.
Wrapping up the conversation, last question, Jacques. What would you like to be remembered for? What would you like to have people say on your funeral one day?
Such a deep question. Wow. I'd love for people to remember me as someone who really cared about them and not about what they could do for me. I did a video for a guy, my very first story video in 2018 when he passed away. They asked me to do a video for his funeral, and hundreds of people sent messages and letters and stories of him, and they always said he would love you without expecting something from you. And that is what I would like to be remembered for, is I don't want something from you, I value you.
Jacques, this has been an incredible conversation. Certainly it's not going to be the last one. All the viewers, all the listeners, if you need any content creation, if you're a company that needs any filmmaking, the new product that you're launching, a video business card showing a business, giving a business who they are, what they do, how they do it, why they do it, go to 9th Avenue Films, go check out their stuff, the work that they've done, the work that they are still busy doing. You're a massive inspiration, like I said. You're still on this journey. There's still a lot for us to learn. Thank you for having me in your beautiful offices with your beautiful equipment. I can guarantee any person that would like to use you guys as a videography company, that if they only get half of the value than what your previous clients have received, I can promise every single person that they would be very, very impressed. Jacques, thank you so much, and this is certainly not the last one.
Franco, thank you. It's an honor, and may this be the beginning of a beautiful chapter, an incredible journey, and may many see the value that they have.
So, last thing, going back to world changers, if you can change your mind in here, if you can change the world in here, you can change the world around you. So go out there and be a world changer.